yeah, I am awake and alive and alive.
I'm so great I gotta say it twice and cut it out once. My head's a syrup bottle that's getting tipped over every Wednesday. You're a storyteller in a storytelling podcast, and the only story you're telling now is a story about stories you don't want to tell! What the fuck? Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. Look, folks, I'm not writing a book. Get off my back, all right? I'm tired of it. I'm tired of hearing it. I should be writing more. I should be doing this. I should be doing... Yes, there's a lot of things I should be doing. I understand that. You understand that. That's why you approach me with these ideas. But people telling me I should write a book, let me ask you something. What was the last time you read a fucking book? Honestly, when was the last time you actually went and purchased a book and actually brought it home and broke it and smelled the pages and heard the binding creak as you flipped page to page and read it? I'm willing to bet it's been a year, at least 2 years. Because books are dead. Print is dead. Nobody wants to read my musings in print. Fucking everybody's telling me like, oh, you should write this. You should write it. Lily's just telling me now. She's like, you should write more. You should write on your website more. Why? I can't get people to go to the website now. Why am I going to add fucking content that they're going to go, this makes no sense. I don't want to read this. Nobody wants to curl up in front of a fire with a good website. All right. Nobody wants to read that. I'm not going to get published anywhere. I'm not going to get, where am I going to go? Cracked.com? They have too many dudes there already. All right. Okay. Actually, all right. I'll tell you what, here's what we should do. And now let's slow down. What I need from you guys is I need from you, you need to write cracked.com and tell them to give me a job. That's what I need. Do you realize I have nothing to offer except you guys? You do realize that, right? All I have is this huge tsunami of people who are willing to take it and put their fingers to a keyboard and tell people they like me. That's it. That's all I got. And believe me, there's something there. That's great. And it's amazing. And I can't believe that you guys support me like you do. But you know who doesn't appreciate that? Anybody else in the world. I'm finding out. Some of you may have listened to last week's show. And I talked about a company that was looking for, they were looking for comedians. Like they actually, here's the thing. This is the thing that drives me crazy, folks. They asked to find comedians. They reached out looking for people who do what I do. So I wrote them and did not hear back. And then I turned you folks loose on them. And I said, hey, why don't you write them? And let's talk about this for just a second, folks. I'm not gonna say them by name. I'm not gonna give out the address again. And though my instinct is to burn this to the fucking ground, I'm not going to yet. I'm not. But I will tell you that I did that. You guys, by the way, you guys don't fuck around. I should tell you that because I put that show out, and in 3 hours, I received an email from that guy. Telling me that I was funny and that I was in the mix. But what was making me less funny and taking me out of the mix was having you guys write him and tell him that I was funny.
He has no sense of humor.
And so I understood sort of where he was coming from. Hold on. I got to put my flamethrower away before I start talking.
No, you don't.
Because I'm trying very, very hard to choose my words carefully here. All right? Because I like to still think that I'm in the mix for some reason. I don't know why. Especially because the only thing I heard from him was, please have your people stop emailing me. There was no, hey, let's talk, let's meet. And I don't fucking understand it. I don't, because you know what, folks? It was so funny. He was like, the one thing that's making you less funny is and less is the fact that these people are writing me telling me that. It's very hard to see your talent when I have people telling me you're talented. And I'm like, that was essentially the message I was getting. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't understand that logic. And so I wrote him back, and I was very nice. And I said, listen, this is the internet. And for me, the voices of the many eclipse the voice of the one. That was why I asked people to write you. So I may have misstepped, and I do apologize for that. I go, in other words, you know what? I hope I didn't fuck this up. Thanks, Mike. I handled that, I thought, very well, because I was very nice, and I sent an apology, even though I wasn't sorry, but I still wanted him to know that I understood where he was coming from. But then that company did a Harlem Shake video last week, okay? And got a ton of attention for it. Like Gizmodo picked it up, and because it was naked porn stars. That was the whole deal. And that's their company. That's what they do. They should be doing that sort of thing. And when they announced that they were doing it, because he also put out a casting call on their Twitter for he goes, whoever wants to be naked in a Harlem Shake video, contact us. And then within a day it was up. And then it went pretty viral. Like it actually hit pretty big. But also on his Twitter account, he started reaching out to people and saying, hey, at blah, 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 have you seen this? We're being called. And so he's doing the exact same fucking thing that I was told I shouldn't do. He's doing the exact same thing, albeit in a public way. But you know what? He gave his email out on Twitter. I don't get it. Why would it make you think I wasn't worth hiring if you saw that all of these people wanted me to be hired? I can't explain it. The funniest, it's just like, hey, dude, you know what? I think you're great. And all these other people think you're great. But because of that, we're probably not going to think you're so great. What? What? You're kidding, right? You're joking. And I don't know if I fucked up because, look, I had two instincts on the email reply to him. Okay. It's the same thing that happened with Marin. You know, when you guys wrote Mark, and then Mark wrote me and killed me. Like, he was so fucking mad at me. And then I acquiesced, and I wrote to him, and I go, hey, look, I don't know what you're talking about or why you're this mad. And then I explained to him, and he was very nice, you know, once I diffused the situation. So when this guy wrote me, like, there were two ways I could have gone about it. The way I did, which is a professional email explaining my reasons, or I could have come off and just said, yeah, this is what you were looking for, right? You're looking for comedians and hosts. I have a following of people who, I mean, they're willing to follow me into porn land. I mean, that's what you're looking for, right? I have an army of perverts who are willing to follow me over to your fucking site. But I didn't. I was going to write, look, you know, it's the internet and it's marketing and it's all about who, you know, promotion but what's so funny to me is he knows that. He knows that because he works for a porn company that then got into promoting things this week. So can't you see that what I did was exactly what you did, but I did it on a different scale because I just happen to have more people following me than you have following you at the time? And it's so funny. I went to this guy's personal, you know, once he wrote me, then I looked him up because I didn't know anything about him. I just knew the company. So when I looked him up, I found his personal Facebook page and I found his personal Twitter account. And on those, he was reaching out looking for comedians and stuff. And I'm like, dude, and I don't know. Here's the thing. And it was funny. I was talking to Karen about it. You know, they want a big name comedian to just fall into their fucking lap. You know, they want Jim Norton, they want Bill Burr, they want, you know, because Greg Fitzsimmons, because Fitzsimmons has hosted the AVN Awards. So in their mind, they're like, oh yeah, like Greg Fitzsimmons is probably a guy we can get. Or Dave Attell, who does his porn stuff on Showtime. So they're probably thinking, we got to get those guys. But don't they realize I'm them in training? I'm a fucking Attell in training. I'm a fucking Fitzsimmons in training. I bring to you a lot of what they can do with no name value. That's the only thing. You know who I am? I'm the fucking generic version of those guys. I'm like, if you went to a Greg Fitzsimmons shop, there would be a box that just said Schmidt, like with fucking green stripes, a white box. That's me. I'm the generic version of those dudes. You can bring me in and then build me into a brand name. Can't you see that? Can't put your flamethrower away. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. But I'm not in the mix anymore. I haven't heard from them for a fucking week. Obviously, I'm not in the mix. So you know what I need? I need you guys to write this guy and get me back in the mix. That's what I need. I need you to redouble your efforts so he can see that I need to be in the mix. God damn it. Don't write this fucking guy. Because honestly, and this is going to sound, this is, God damn, I want to set this whole fucking thing on fire. I want to say shit and I can't. Fuck. And that's, you know what? That's the antithesis of what this show is supposed to be. I'm supposed to be able to say whatever the fuck I want, but like, there's that thing where you just gotta fucking. But I mean, what could they possibly hire me for now? I mean, they're not gonna hire me, right? So I should just fucking destroy this, right? No, all right. But that doesn't make any sense, right? The logic of, hey, I think you're great, but you know, all these other people who think you're great are really making me think you're not great. I don't understand that. And the thing is, like I said, if I gave out a private email or a phone number and said, you know, call this dude, I would be a jagoff. But he put his email into the public airwaves. Is Twitter airwaves? I have no fucking clue. I don't know what that is. By the way, on Twitter right now, go look at my Twitter page. Although by the time you see this, fuck you, because I'll have to answer shit. I'm at 6,969 tweets. Haha, that's right, 6969. Like, I don't even want to fucking write another tweet as long as I live, because I just want to stay at 6969. I want to start a whole new fucking account. See, that's the kind of gold I could bring to these guys. Terrible. Fuck this, man. I don't get it. I'm and look, I've told myself that I can't make this show into a fucking crazy what? What are you making a face for?
6970.
What? How did I make it? Oh, because I retweeted somebody. I forgot when you retweet somebody. Fuck. Well, you know what's funny, Lily? You didn't have to say that, because Theater of the Mind, they would have thought when I said this I was at 6969.
Because I wanted to see the number.
Well, I was. Well, I'll delete one, and maybe then you'll be excited. That's why not. That's how. That's the only way I can get people excited, is by taking away anything I've contributed. I told myself it wasn't going to turn into this circus of telling you motherfuckers what the fuck, like all the bad shit. But it's not bad, but it is, but it's not. I don't fucking know. Dude, I have been just applying for jobs, and you know this. I mean, I live at Craigslist. I'm unemployed loser at Craigslist.com if you want to write me an email. Jesus Christ. And I go in there and I look and it's just, there's nothing worse than going in there. And because now I told you this. All right, look, I would love to get a writing job and work for a show or something like that. And I apply for those at certain showbiz type fucking job places, but never a call, which is fine. But now I'm in a situation where I'm applying for jobs, like anything at all. We talked last week about me turning into Ramon. I can't. I'm stiff arming that. I can't jump into Ramon. I can't do it. It's gonna have to be a real fucking emergency for me to jump into Ramon's skin. But right now I can't. I won't do it. I'm more than that, right? But then you go to fucking Craigslist and I find out I'm not. I'm really not. You know what I'm qualified to do? Literally, I'm qualified to be Ramon. That's the only thing I'm qualified to do. There's shit that I took for granted. I thought I could be a valet parking guy because I can drive, right? I'm like, well, I started to actually think about my rudimentary basic skills. And I'm like, I can drive. All right, let's look for a driving gig. So I look and there's valet parking guys. And I'm like, dude, I can do that. Even though they're all wiry and they got to sprint and run around. And I could fucking pull that off. But all of them, you got to drive a stick. And in my head, I didn't even think of that. Like I just assumed everybody was as lazy as me and just has automatic transmission. But no, there are people out there who still like to use their feet to drive. What the fuck? The Flintstones? Get a car with automatic and get me a job. What the fuck? Put your stick shift in the garage. Cameron's dad from Ferris Bueller. Unless you want me and that dude who looks like Nicolas Cage to drive your car all around. But of course I will need him because he's the one who drives the stick. I'll have to be the fucking passenger. God damn it. Like literally basic stuff. You know what I applied to do yesterday? I applied to work in a lumber yard. I don't like wood. The fuck is that? I'm going to show up in a lumber yard and do what? Stack shit? I can stack shit. There's one of my worst nightmares as a kid. The worst memory ever. I ever tell this story on here? My Aunt Marge, her house was where we went for all holidays. Okay. So they had acres. They had a big fucking sheepdog that I hated, Ivan, who would drool on you. Oh my God. I think that's where my fear and hatred of, it's not a fear, it's a hatred of giant dogs came from. Because I don't like dog spit. And Ivan was just made of fur and spit And he was just disgusting. I hated him. And it was the thing where my mom would pull up in the driveway and we would open the doors to our Pinto. It was my mom and all of us jammed into a Pinto. And we would open the doors and Ivan would just thrust his spit-covered face right into the car. And we'd hate him right away. All of us hated him. But when we go to my aunt's house, it was worth it because my aunt downstairs had a fridge packed with soda. And it was like no questions asked because, again, she was upstairs with my mom, and the kid, we'd go down in the basement, and they had a pool table and a pinball machine and an air hockey table and a fridge filled with soda. So it was like 5 boys would run downstairs and disappear and you wouldn't see us forever. We would listen to the fucking Blackhawks on the radio while we played air hockey to match and play pinball and set high scores and play pool and drink soda all fucking day. I drink, that was the first place I ever got a caffeine headache, but like a crippling fell to my knees caffeine headache. Like I have to sit in a dark room, migraine headache, because there was a big party over there once and it was a bunch of kids. And that was like the weekend I learned that I could chug. So I would chug cans of soda in front of like my cousins and stuff. And I would just literally one after the other. I would chug a can of soda, chug a can of soda. I think I drank 15 sodas in an hour. I mean, it was just insane to the point where my head felt like it was going to explode. And I actually had to lay down in the sewing room. I had to go to the sewing room and lay down in the dark until I felt better an hour later. And of course came out of the sewing room and immediately had a soda. But we would go to my aunt's house and be downstairs in that fucking playpen. So my mom one day was like, we're going to Aunt Marge's. We're like, yay, because it meant a night of pool and soda and pinball and whatever food they had. It was great. So we pull up and there's Ivan the sheepdog and he makes me sick. And we get out and we walk inside and it's just my aunt. There's nobody else there. Usually they would have a bunch of people over or my cousins and stuff, but it's just my aunt and my uncle is on his way home from work. And it was also, I should tell you this, we would usually go over there on the weekends. Well, this time it was like a Tuesday, which made no sense. But we didn't give a shit. We're going to play pool and pinball. It was awesome. For us, it was like vacation Tuesday, done. So we walk in, and my aunt's like, oh, good to see you boys here. And she goes, come with me. And we go outside, and it was the end of summer, too. But it was like, fall. And she goes, come with me, boys. We go outside. And like I said, they had, they might have had a couple acres. I don't even know what that is. Again, I don't know what fucking measurement. They had a giant yard. I don't know if it was acres or feet or I don't know the metric system. I don't know what the hectares. They may have had hectares. I have no idea. But we walked outside and they had they had a big cement patio outside as well as like, one of those 3-car garages with like a workspace and everything. So we go outside out into the patio and she goes, all right, come with me, boys. And my aunt had never left her house. Like, as far as I knew, I had never seen her outside other than at a party hosting. But it was cold, too. It was like fall, and we walk outside. She goes, come with me, and we walk across the yard. And it's funny, when I see this scene in my head, I picture my aunt walking, and then we leave the cement, and then we're on the grass, and we're walking, and it's totally dawning on us, this is not like any other visit we've ever had, because usually we're right in the basement playing pool immediately. Well, me and my 4 brothers have been taken outside, and we're walking single file behind my aunt. And I remember my brother Lenny like turning around and looking me in the face like, what the fuck is happening? And I don't know. We walked all the way to the edge of their property. And they had firewood that they had chopped or they had delivered. I don't fucking know. All I know, it was a mountain of logs. I mean, it was just this pile. It was like if someone had a dump truck filled with logs, and they just pulled the lever and dumped them all into a pile. And we slowly gathered around the huge pile of wood that was as big. It looked as big as the garage. I mean, it was gigantic. It was taller than all of us. It was huge. And she said, all right, what I need you boys to do is we're going to stack all of this. And I remember looking at my brother Glenn because he's the second, he's the middle, and he's just making his face like, huh? And Lenny looked at me again with wide eyes, and it's like, fuck, like because we know now we're not gonna get a game of pool in at all. We got to stack this garage-sized fucking pile of wood, and I remember Lenny, like I said, he's looking at me making eye contact with that thing only. That unspoken bond that all family members have where you're just looking at one another like, this is not fucking happening, right? This is not happening. So he looks at my aunt and she's talking about the wood. And then he says, Aunt Marge, isn't it already stacked? Which was kid logic, of course, because it's in a fucking pile. And it was a Hail Mary to get us out of this. My favorite thing is that he thinks that is that going to confuse her, and she's going to go, wait, oh my gosh, you know what? It is already stacked. These are not the droids I'm looking for. And we go back into the house and play pool and drink soda. No, my aunt was ready with an answer. She's like, no, this is a pile. We had it delivered. But what I need you boys to do is you need to stack it, and it needs to be stacked in neat rows. And it dawns on us again that this is going to be a terrible night because it's cold and it's a Tuesday, like it was after school. So it's like 4 o'clock and it's biting wind. And she says also, you need to stack it over there. We have to take it from the edge of their property to the house. So it's closer there so they can have it to build fires. And then we had to stack it up neatly in rows. And I mean, I've never been one for hard labor or work or anything ever, and at all. Even when I was in my house, like I didn't want to do dishes. Like I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do this. All right. But it was that feeling of dread where you know you can't get out of it. We were in wood jail. We were in wood jail and there's not a thing we can do about it. We're in log prison and there's nothing we can fucking do about it. And all of us are making eye contact like, is this happening? Even my youngest brother, Scott, is involved. And she's like, all right, well, there's one wheelbarrow. So you can fill the wheelbarrow up and push that. But then, the rest of you can carry logs over. And I mean, it's just that weird out of a body experience where you leave and I'm looking down. Like I said, I can see the 5 of us walking across the grass single file behind my aunt, and then standing around that gigantic wood pile, and wishing that lightning would hit it and set it on fire so they wouldn't even have. Like I almost want them to freeze during the winter now. I love my family and I love my aunt and my cousins and my uncle, but at this point, I want their house to burn the fuck down. I'm like, I don't want anything to do with this. But she's like, all right, boys, see you later. And she leaves. And all of us are out there and kind of like, look, I'm in LA now and it's kind of cold here. But you guys know what it's like in the Midwest when it gets raw and it starts to turn from summer into fall, but then from fall into winter. Well, it was one of those nights. Imagine like an October night. You know what I mean? Where it's like 38. Nah, bullshit. It was probably like 45. But it doesn't matter. We're wearing our coats finally. We've been out all summer. We've been celebrating and living the pagan lifestyle. But now we're clad in wool and we're waiting. It might as well have been the Revolutionary War times because we're out in the dark twilight in woolen coats, stacking wood, waiting for the Prussian soldiers to come and rape our women. I mean, it was so fucking terrible. I can't explain to you how bad it was because then it's that stupid thing then where you want to put your brother in the wheelbarrow and push him around. And it's just that you're creating anything to try to make it fun because you hate it and you hate your aunt and you hate their house and you hate wood. I hate wood, goddammit. And ever since that day, I've hated fucking wood. But we had to make all the trips. We had to like load the wheelbarrow. And then my little brother, Scott, I remember him, he might have been fucking 10 and he's carrying one log. You know what I mean? Like, and he had to because we were indentured servants at that point. My mom and my aunt are in the house probably looking out the window and laughing their asses off at the 5 of us. And I'm sure my cousins were too. My cousins are probably somewhere going, haha, but we weren't there to stack the wood this year. And the 5 of us, we just, with our coats, and look, there's spiders and wood and fucking webs and splinters and I mean, just shit that I don't want anything to do with. But we did it. We fucking did it. It took 3 hours. But we fucking filled the wheelbarrow, and we'd roll it over. And then we had to stack it neatly. That was the thing is my aunt then came out and she's like, no, it's got to be more. Because they needed it in 2 separate wood pile stacks that were on like logs on top of one another. You couldn't just pile it. You had to neatly put it like you were building a wood store or whatever the fuck. And it was so funny when she came out to tell us about the stacks. And part of me, again, I'm a dick, and I would never to my aunt. My aunt, I wouldn't smart enough to my aunt just because I know my mom would kick the fuck out of me. And also because my aunt is like the sweetest person in the world, other than the fact that she now has apparently purchased me and my brothers in some sort of slave trade. But she came out and she starts talking about the stack and how we got to make sure it's neat and other. And in my little kid head, I remember going, "You know that you're going to set all of this on fire. You are aware of that, right?" I mean, I know you want a neat stack and it's got to look pretty in your yard, but literally the goal of all of this is to be set on fire over the next few months. So when I saw Lumberyard on Craigslist, I immediately went, well, I have to look into this. But I applied at a lumberyard, and then there's where I'm applying for warehouse work, which again, you know what you need for warehouse work? Feet and hands. That's it. They don't give a shit about your brain. Nobody cares about your brain. And that's all I have is a brain and a mouth. I can't find any job that wants me, other than telemarketing, which is not going to fucking happen. You know why? Because all you need for telemarketing is a mouth, not a brain. All you got to do is just fucking talk, which I can do, but I can't sell shit to anybody. I can't sell me to you people. And I believe in me. Like I'm going to fucking be able to sell anything else to anyone else. I hate bothering people. It's just fucking, it's a nightmare. It's such a nightmare. And you guys know, you work real jobs in the real world. And now you're just like, yeah, well, welcome to the working week, motherfucker. And it's like, yes, I understand that. I get it. I'm not trying to run down what you guys do. But Jesus Christ. But the thing is, I can't even get to do what you guys do. I applied at the lumberyard and even though I shouldn't have, because I was reading the lumberyard thing and I'm like, well, what the fuck do you need a lumberyard? I've stacked wood before. We just heard about it. I have plenty of experience. But in it, they have their qualifications. You need to know how to drive a forklift. And like these warehouse jobs, they want you to drive a forklift. And there was another one, like a cherry picker, because you got to go up on top of shelves or whatever the fuck, and you got to know how to operate that stuff. And I'm like, I don't know how to do any of that shit. I can barely stack the wood. And now I'm angry at the lumberyard because I'm like, motherfuckers, zombies could do your work. But now you're going to throw the forklift into the mix to what? To keep me out. It's the only reason they have a forklift in the mix at the lumberyard is to keep Mike Schmidt out of the job. I want the job just so I can go in there and because I want to tell them I can work a forklift. You know who I'm going to be? I'm going to be the Jerry Lewis of jobs on Craigslist. I'm going to be some dumb fuck who's just like, yeah, I can do that. Of course I can do that. And they're going to go, okay, go ahead. And I'm going to get in the forklift. And then, like, you know, there'll be the spinning headline, 4 people die in forklift accident. Sub headline, wood stack never looked straighter. Company spokesman Mike Schmidt had this to say. Everybody else is dead. I run the fucking lumberyard now. Yeah, bring me in. Put me in a cherry picker. That's exactly what you want, is fucking Benny Hill comedy. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, yes, I can do that. Of course I can. I got 10 years forklift experience. You're going to put me in it, and I'm just going to fucking run over like 9 guys. Oh, I was a different forklift. Sorry. God damn it. That's what I want to do. If I could just, you know what, they just call me. If some of these people call, that's why I've started applying. I don't give a fuck. Because I applied at the lumberyard before I saw the forklift and still sent in my app. Not even an app. It's an email. You don't even fill out applications anymore. It's just emails. God damn it. You know what? There was a job for, what the fuck was it? It was a pizza cook. All right. Look, in my life, I've always known, I'm like, well, there's something I can fall back on. It's pizza cook. I can throw pizza dough. I've done it my whole life. I don't want to ever do it again, but if I have to, I have to. So there are these pizza chef cooks, whatever the fuck, on Craigslist, and I go to look at them, and first of all, they want my resume, which I want to come in with a dough ball and just throw it at them, like literally. Throw it in the air and let it land with all of my jobs on it, and just go, there you go. How's that? Grab you. Mario Joyner used to have a great bit about that. He was a comedian. He was talking about the guy who rips tickets at the fucking theater. He goes, how'd you get that job? I suppose you just submit your resume as confetti. He said he walks in, he throws it in the air, and he goes, I think you can see my qualifications speak for themselves. Fucking awesome. Mario Joyner, great joke. Oh my God. Yeah, man. But and also they want a resume to be a pizza cook, which whatever the fuck. Just let me come in. Let me make a pizza. You know what? That's what I'll do. That's my resume. And I don't know if they're just trying to prove that I'm not going to kill everybody on site, because again, they've heard about my reputation at the lumberyard. But also, I found this out too with some of these, because there's food places that, I won't be a line cook. I can't handle that. I'm not going to burn eggs. I mean, I've never done line cookery. I've only done fucking like pizza joints. But now it said I needed to have a California food handler's card. What the fuck is that? Look at me. I've handled plenty of food. I don't think I need the state to say that I've done it. What has happened out there in the real world? Look, when I was in my day, any serial killer could get a job at a fucking pizza place and lay low. That was the way it worked. I didn't need to go have a meeting with the governor to make a side salad. I don't get it. California food handler's card. It's to certify that I don't have hepatitis? Is that what it is?
Certify that you're trained in food handling preparation. So you know temperatures, that things need to be stored at.
But fuck all that. They're supposed to teach me that when I get there. That's the point. That was when I used to get a job, they would give you a manual and it would have all this bullshit in there, and then you'd throw that away and you'd never read it, and it was fine. If I'm buying the restaurant, then make me get a California food handler's card. But if I'm just a schmuck who's making sandwiches for people, then fucking get off my back. I'm not, believe me, I don't need, if I wanted to be tested, I wouldn't be working in a sandwich place. Jesus fucking Christ, I don't get it. Don't understand it. But apparently California is very safe. And whenever I go into a restaurant and they're wearing those fucking rubber gloves. Everybody wears rubber gloves out here to make food. I can't do that. I'm out. I want nothing to do with that. I'm not an animal. You can trust my hands. I stay clean. I don't have hepatitis. I'm not fucking jerking off back there. All I'm doing is making your pizza. That's it. Trust me. If you've trusted me enough to walk into my place of business, you can trust me to have clean hands. See, it doesn't make any sense. If you have the California food handler's card, you shouldn't have to wear the gloves.
No.
Because it proves that you know everything. Gloves are only if you're some animal who won't take that test. See, that's what it is. If I refuse to take the California food handlers, they go, well, then you got to wear these because they can't trust you. You might be jerking it off in the fucking supply room. Doesn't matter. I'm not getting these jobs anyway. I've sent in fucking emails and never heard back. They wanted a barista. Okay. Again, that's something I think I can handle. It's just because all I have to offer is my personality. That's it. So I figure I can go and work a counter somewhere and be nice to people. And then if they want coffee, I guess, in addition to personality, then I'll give them some. That's fine. So there was a barista job. There were two of them actually on Craigslist, and I looked them both up. They both wanted my resume. My resume. I just want to mail them a cup of coffee. It's ridiculous. I look and I mean, look, you guys don't want it. I didn't want it to turn into this, but I mean, this is, unfortunately, I tell you about my life. This is all I've done. This is all I've done for the past fucking week, 2 weeks. I started applying for personal assistant jobs. To people. There was this woman in Studio City. And she's like, oh, I have a crazy life. I've got a husband. I got 5 kids. I got 4 dogs. And you'll be, in charge of taking the kids to recitals and plays sometimes. And you'll be at the house. You'll answer emails and you'll do a social media thing for me. And you'll compile a master schedule for my whole family. And a part of me is reading that. And I'm like, I can do that. And then it's dawning on me. I'm like, you don't even do that for yourself. A master schedule for her and her family? Your schedule is you stay up until 10 a.m. and then you sleep in a chair. And then you wake up and you go on the internet and stare at porn. What is... Granted, that schedule is a lot easier to keep than her family's would be. And I don't think I could get that family on my schedule. I don't. I don't know how old the kids are, but maybe not. But I wanted to apply for that because I'm like, I feel that if I could just talk to someone, I can sell them on me. If I could just sell them on me. But then part of me is like, I can't sell that woman. Hey, I'm a 45-year-old man who's never had kids of his own. I would love the opportunity to take care of yours. I mean, you would call the police, right? I would call the police immediately if I showed up for that fucking job. And it was too bad because her ad made her sound really interesting and fun, where I was like, I bet I would get along great with that woman because she's a writer and all these different things. And I'm like, I would do well with them. I could be the Alice for that family. Why not make me your Alice? They got 5 kids and 4 dogs. It's so funny. This whole show has been how I hate dogs. I have no kids, but I'm like, oh, I can make a master schedule for that. First of all, we're getting rid of the dogs. That's number 1 on our master schedule. Number 2, these kids, are you that attached to them? Let's go ahead and get rid of them. And me, you, and your husband will hang out. How's that sound? Will I have to wear gloves for this enterprise? Do I need to get a California kid handler's card? Actually, I picked it up at the church. I don't get it. And then, there's all these different categories on Craigslist that you look through for jobs. And I like I said, I'm applying. I'm shotgunning applications. I applied to some old man who's scared of the world, some agoraphobe. I sent out an app for him. He needs a personal assistant, a guy, and all he needs is somebody for like 10 hours a week to check his mail. Like literally, he wants someone to be him for 10 hours a week, to just do all the things he would have to do so he doesn't have to leave his goddamn house. And so I sent him a note, haven't heard back. I'm just like, dude, and I live close to him. I'm like, dude, and I'm almost his age. He's like 50. I'm like, dude, I'm 45, sort of. I mean, chronologically, I'm 9 normally, but I mean, and there's these people who want this inappropriate amount of information from you for just, it's all scams. Everybody's got a scam. You know what I mean? They're just, I'm serious. They're like, send along your name and your insurance information for your car and also your insurance policy number. Why the fuck do you want my insurance policy number? Well, we want a printout of your insurance. Well, yes, hire me and I'll give you a printout of my insurance. I'm not just sending you one for no reason. But everybody has that fucking thing on there where they try to trick you into giving them stuff. And also there's this bullshit where hey, follow us on Twitter. Only if you follow us on Twitter and friend us and like our page on Facebook will you be considered for this job. Well, all you're doing is harvesting Twitter people and Facebook people then. And because your job's not that good. You're not paying. There's so many jobs with no pay. Jesus Christ. And the porn. Jesus Christ. I had no idea. Because it used to be when I went to Craigslist, there was some stuff for porn. Now it's all porn. Like in the creative or the talent section. And it's creepy porn. It's not like, if there was straight up porn, like it was like dudes were like, hey, we do porn, come get a job, that'd be fine. But it's these sneaky motherfuckers with stuff. There was a guy, and dude, there are so many guys on there who are trying to hire women to come to their house for private photo shoots, they call it. They're like, come over for a private photo shoot. These pictures are just for my personal use. They will never see the internet or anything. And it's like, dude, no, nobody would trust you to do that. You're posting some anonymous ad. Nobody knows who the fuck you are. And you would have to go, if you're a woman, you got to bring like 2 friends with you, right? So you don't wind up dead or your head in a bag somewhere. I know, you know what? Fuck that. If you're a guy, you got to do the same thing. I'd bring a posse of dudes with me to make sure I didn't get overpowered by some John Wayne Gacy construction clown. Fuck that. That's all fucking Craigslist is. That's it. It's just a trolling place to find victims. I saw there was an ad for a guy in Long Beach, and he's like, he's looking for guys with big dicks. And he's like, it's only for art photos. You will come to my place and I will use them. The goal is to sell these as art prints, but there'll also be some for my personal use too. Yes, of course they will, you fucking size queen. Of course you will. And the ad is great. He's like, you got to have a really huge dick and I need to see your face and you've got to, what was it? You need to be in really great shape and stuff, but you don't, because I read it to Karen and she just couldn't stop laughing. You have to have it between your legs that proves why you have that cocky smile when you walk. And I was like, it was just this fetish paragraph this guy wrote as he's trying to find a boyfriend. You're like, dude, just go to Rage. Just go to Rage. Don't be putting ads up on fucking Craigslist. Just go to Rage and find a guy. That's it. That's all you got to do. Don't get it. I mean, it just, there was a guy, this guy put this ad up, and this is a true ad. This is on Craigslist. Hiring she-male personal assistant. What the fuck? Why don't you just write looking for cock? That's all you have to write. Looking for she-male personal assistant. And it said, please send photos and a brief description. Look, you don't need photos and a brief description if you just want me to be your personal assistant. I think you're really more concerned with the she-male part of this. That's what I'm getting from this ad. Just the very specificity of I need a she-male personal assistant. That's great. You know he is that guy. You know who put that ad? Willy Wonka. That's who put that ad in. He's got some chocolate factory and he's got like Oompa Loompas running around. They all look the same and he needs a she-male personal assistant. It just needs to be that level of weird. Just admit that you want to fuck a she-male. That's all you have to do. Don't couch it with a weird job. I need you to take a letter, the letter C, my cock, into your mouth. That's what I need you to do. Oh, fuck that. Well, Terry, I need you to file this in your, file this under A for ass. I'm going to have to file it right into your ass, my cock. Anyway, give me a fucking, just nut up and go fucking date a she-male. I saw a guy who put an ad. There's an ad. These are real ads. And it's not even like I feel guilty, like I'm doing some sort of morning zoo bit. But this is my life. This is what I'm swimming through. I'm swimming through this shit. There was a guy who put up an ad for Asian foot worship videos. He needed models for Asian foot worship videos, but he also put in there, "Don't worry, they're anonymous. We won't use your face." Why the fuck do they have to be Asian then? What? I don't. Just admit you want to meet a nice Chinese lady to go ahead and stare at her feet. That's all you want. You want bunions from the Far East crammed into your mouth. That's what you want. But no, Asian foot worship videos, don't worry, we won't use your face. Well, so how are you going to know that they're Asian feet? I think you're going to have more silk pajamas? I mean, is that what you're going to have to stand in chow mein? I don't understand what the fuck you're going to make these girls do. Although, wait a minute, in China, don't they do that fucking thing with their... What's it called? Blocking, where they smash their feet into a shoe or some shit like that? Maybe that's what it is. Because all Chinese women look like reindeer. Like their feet are all fucking smashed up so they can fit in tiny shoes. I think I'm pretty close. My favorite part is you're like, that's not true. No, you know what I think it is? I think all Chinese women look like reindeer from the waist down. They're like centaurs. Don't talk to me. Talk to Asian Foot Worship Anonymous video dude. He obviously knows the difference. There was an ad for fluffers for $400 a day. $400 a day for fluffers. I mean, man, I just, like, literally in your head, you're just like, well, would I need a California food handler's card for that job? Because I could probably tootsie myself up and get on the set. As long as I don't have to wear the gloves, I'm fine. You're listening to The 40-Year-Old Boy, and later, The Velvet Rope. Big James and Chewy would like a word with you outside.
What are you writing for?
I got this application, from that joint down on 4th Street.
The Valentine Gardens?
Yeah, look at this, man. They got these goofy questions like, look, do you have any first date experience?
What'd you put?
Yes.
What? How do you have fucking first date experience?
Dude, you remember that time I stopped that broad from choking? You remember the broad,
Stopped in the Bon Jovi t-shirt?
Yeah, remember I stopped her from choking?
Yeah, you punched her in the fucking stomach and a goddamn chicken wing flew out of her mouth.
Stopped choking, didn't she?
Women always welcome, men get in line. The Velvet Rope on the Mike Schmidt Podcasting Network.
Fucking Heimlich.
It dawns on me that some of you might not know what a fluffer is. In which case, that would have made no sense. A fluffer is somebody who is employed on a porn set to keep the male actors at attention. See how much funnier it is now that you know what it is? The glove thing worked, the food hand, it all works now, doesn't it, for you non-fluffer knowers? I gotta get out of Lily's house, man. This is a toxic atmosphere today. Both Lily and I are just sitting here going, we don't know what to do. And it's, again, I don't mean to dump all this in your lap, but hey, man, at least it's once a week. What if it was every fucking day? You'd lose your minds. But both Lily and I are we just want to, we're looking for the pile of coats to hide under. She's worried about stuff and I'm worried about stuff. And then we sit here and we talk. And then we can't tear each other apart for too long because, that would be counterproductive to the two of us. So we then turn our laser beams on everybody else. You know what I mean? So we'll be scrolling through Facebook. We're like, oh, look at this asshole. I mean, this guy's not an asshole. He's doing what he wants to do. That's fine. Oh, look at this idiot. No, it's a girl and she's doing what she wants. Yes, she's an idiot. And Lily's watching YouTube videos. I'm like, oh, I don't watch this one. It's terrible. Oh, yes, it's awful. Oh, everything's bad. And I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be in a bitterness spiral. I don't want to be angry and sad. I want to be happy, right? Shouldn't we all be happy? But then there's part of me that just wants to eat and die. I won't lie to you. There's part of me that just, I just want to fucking disengage and hide under a blanket. And you know what's funny? I don't even have a bed to hide in. Like, I wish I did. After you all know, after the bed bug scare, I had to get rid of my bed. And so I've been sleeping on an air mattress, which I've talked about. And then I said there was a little bump. I think I may have brought that news to you guys, that there was a little bump in it and it was harder to sleep in. Yeah. That little bump, now it looks like we're hiding a body in our bed. Not even a body, bullshit. It looks like we're hiding a barrel in our bed. It's that big. And I know you think I'm kidding. I'm going to take a fucking picture of it. I think I have to take a picture of it because Karen and I inflated it. Like it just started happening, and then we deflated the bed. I went in to wake Karen up for work the other day, and the bed was completely deflated. She was lying on just this fucking deflated air mattress, and I was like, oh my God. And she looks up at me, are you okay? And she goes, yeah, what? And I go, the bed is deflated. She's like, oh no. And then she goes, I got up in the middle of the night and did it. I go, what? She goes, because I can't sleep on this thing like this. Because it's quadrupled in size, but only in one section. It's just, oh my God, I can't even explain it. And so now Karen sleeps in there, but she deflates the bed. She only fills it halfway. So when she gets in the bed, it like wraps around her like a fucking rubber coffin. Like she just lays in it, and the two of us can't be in it at the same time. I mean, we can, but then when I climb in, and it shifts, so she rolls against me, bam, and I'm the dam keeping her from spilling out into the villagers. And her face will be pressed up against my face, and I'm like, this is tragic, right? And she's like, yep. And I go, where are the coats? I wish to hide under the coats. You know where they're not? The bed, because we don't have a bed. But I don't want to be that guy who brings that news to you every single week. But unfortunately, that turns out to be who I am. And then I come here and poor Lily, she has the same thing going on. So then I'm sitting here and she's telling me like these toxic things, and I'm mad. And then the two of us, we got to end this with a killing spree, right? If I didn't... Year 5 needs to end with a killing spree. We'll do a live remote. We'll just go out and kill people. Because I've thought about it. Like in my head, I'm just like, well, what if I just went out and fucking Blaze of Glory style? But then again, you know what? I didn't want to even move wood. Like I'm gonna fucking... I'd have to buy a gun and learn to shoot it. It would be terrible. It would be awful. I'd have slide bite in 5 seconds. I'd abandon the whole plan. Just frozen in time. No idea what's going to happen. It's so fucking brutal. All right, this is how things are going for me. I'll tell you this. I'm going to be in Texas next week. Buy some fucking tickets, folks. That'd be kind of cool. And then in Detroit the following week, or just outside of Detroit. Hey, Detroit, you lied to me. You had a page with a lot of people, and you all wanted me to come. And guess what? I'm coming, and you're not. It's weird. It's very weird. I won't lie. It'd be really cool if you bought some tickets there, Detroit. Granted, I'm outside of Detroit, but still. So I was going to fly to Detroit from here, and the ticket was like $485. Like I couldn't find anything cheaper for a long time. So I made a plan. I'm going to fly to Chicago because I have some work to do there anyway, and then I will fly to Detroit while I'm in Chicago and then back to Chicago. The 2 plane tickets from here to Chicago and from Chicago to Detroit, 2 round-trip tickets cost less than a flight from here to Detroit. So I said it makes sense. So I made that plan, and then I had a buddy of mine, Jimmy O, in Detroit, and he's like, hey, dude, let me know when you're coming to town. I'll check into hotels. And I had been monitoring the airfare for a couple of weeks, and it was a weird disparity. Delta, a round-trip ticket from Chicago to Detroit on Delta was $118. But on American, and which I usually fly in United, it was like $185. So it was like this weird $70 disparity. So I said, you know what, fuck it, I'll fly Delta, it'll be fine. I told Jimmy I didn't know if I was going to come in Friday or Saturday. He was talking about hotels, blah blah blah. So finally I got it all hashed out with him regarding hotels today, and I went to buy the ticket to Detroit, and the cheapest ticket to Detroit now is $222, and it's on United. Delta went from, and this is from Tuesday, all right, yesterday, it was $118, and it had been that for a couple of weeks, and we're still 3 weeks away from when I'm flying. I settled it today. I went right to the air, and it was $222. Dudes. I don't even get it. It's the same routes, the same planes, the same everything, but in one day it went up $112 on Delta. So that's where I'm at. So that happens this morning, and then I have no bed to sleep in because the bed is like, I tried, like Karen goes to work, and then I climbed into that thing today, and you ever see Creepshow 2? Probably not. Nobody's ever seen that but me. What kind of a question is that, really? You know what? If anything sums up my life and why I'm in the position I'm in today as I talk to you guys, it's that question. Hey, you ever seen Creepshow 2? That should tell you everything you need to fucking know about the progress I've made in my life. So in Creepshow 2, one of the segments is a group of teenagers. They swim out to like a buoy or some fucking platform in the middle of a lake, and there's an oil slick looking thing, and it turns out to be like a man-eating oil slick. It's like an alien tarp. I don't fucking know what it is, but it covers people up and it eats them. And why am I saying that? Why am I even telling that story?
You were talking about the bed.
Oh, that's what the bed was like. Oh, dude, you know what it is? It's all right, here, this might be better for you. You know who Venom is? He's like Peter Parker's symbiotic. All right, Venom is a villain who got taken over by a black suit. Eddie Brock is his name. And, oh, Jesus Christ. Again, now you see why I'm a failure. There was an alien suit that came about in Marvel's Secret Wars. Spider-Man found it when he was in space, and it was a black suit, and it took the place of his red suit, but then it turned out to be a symbiotic alien that was trying to take over Peter Parker. And in the comic books, it's a great story. In the movies, it's a terrible fucking story, because in the comic books, it tries to take over Peter Parker and make him a villain, and in the movies, it made Tobey Maguire a terrible dancer. Like, it just... It is an awful costume. I put it to you that in the movie, it's actually a greater villain than it is in the comic books. Because in the comic books, it wreaked havoc on Peter Parker's life. But in the movies, it ruined my 3 hours and stole $15 from me. That's what the fucking symbiotic alien Venom suit did to me. It stole 15 of my fucking dollars as I watched Tobey Maguire have a dance contest. Awful. Spider-Man 3, awful. Spider-Man 2, genius. Spider-Man 3, fucking terrible. Like, and I didn't see Amazing Spider-Man with that Andrew Garfield dude because they lost me. And dude, if you lose me for Spider-Man movies, you've done something. Because that's all I wanted to do when I was a kid was watch Spider-Man do stuff. Spider-Man and Batman, that was it. I was on board. But if you lose me for the Spider-Man franchise, and now Django's amazing. I love Django, and Jamie Foxx is great in it. But Jamie Foxx is Electro in the new Spider-Man movie, and I don't see it. I just don't. I don't see it. Jamie Foxx is a bad guy. All right. He was great in Django. He's so good. But as Electro, and I won't see it anyway because the fucking fake Spider-Man, who cares? Shut up. No one cares. Again, 45 years old. I'm contemplating fluffer jobs, and still I'm talking about Spider-Man fucking 3. Terrible. Toxic. It's a toxic environment. I blame Lily. I was in a good mood when I got here. Everything was great. I was like, oh, this is fantastic. And she's like, oh, you're not going to believe this. She showed me 3 YouTube videos, and I wanted to kill everybody in the world. Everybody. It was her fault. So I sleep in that mattress, and it's just fucking, it's seizing around me. And I told Karen, I go, this is like, every time I get in the bed with her, I'm like, you know what? Do me a favor. Take this whistle and make sure you blow it when the rescue ships come, because you don't let go, Rose. You don't let go. Because we're just fucking moving around. It's deflated, and you can't. We're just grasping for purchase. Look, when I roll around in a bed with a chick, I want it to be for reasons that I want to be rolling around in a bed with a chick. Not because I'm not trying to drown in rubber. I don't even have a bed. I'm 45. You don't care. You don't care. No, they don't care. Literally, because usually I'll change it to you care, everybody cares. You don't care about that shit. Who the fuck? You got your own problems. That's the thing, is you tune into this to get away from problems. You're like, oh, I'll listen to Mike. He's my internet chum. Everything's going to be funny. And I'll tell you what, I am fucking funny, because I unfortunately this past week, well, not unfortunately, fortunately, I had reason to listen to old shows. So I had to go and listen to some stuff. And god damn, I used to be great. Everything was great then. But everything's fallen off. Not really. Head Full of Bees was a great show. Well, I'm going to take this on a case-by-case basis. Because I can't, you know why? Because I can't have a bad show. Because if I do, I know everybody will leave. Every one of you will just stop listening if I have one bad show. And which, by the way, I've proved that that's wrong, because I've had bad shows and you haven't left. But in my head, I still feel that way. Where it's like, I got to fucking, even when I finish that show, I'm thinking about the next week's show, and I'm like, God damn it, that one's got to be, even if this show is great, I have to make the next show just as good, or else you'll all leave. And you'll all leave me alone here on the internet. And I can't be alone on the internet. Like I said, I'm looking at fluffer jobs. I can't be alone on the internet. Who knows what I'm going to wind up getting myself into? It's going to be terrible. I'm built for mischief. You guys are my anchor. All right. So last week, as I have no job and I was trying to figure out what to do with my life. I told you last week about something I was going to do. I taped early last week because I had a task last Wednesday. I was going to go to the Wheel of Fortune tryout. Now, that was at a casino. As if it couldn't be any more sad for me. Honestly, they're like, we need to make this sadder for Mike. So I had to go to a casino to try out, and I had to go to Cabazon. Is that the name of the city? I don't know. It was 100 miles away. So I threw the address in my GPS, and I hit the road last Wednesday. And I fought myself the whole time Tuesday. I recorded the show. And even Lily said to me when I left, she goes, you need to go to that tomorrow. Because I wasn't going to go. I was not going to go to the Wheel of Fortune because it was 100 miles away. I was like, dude, what are you doing? This fucking ridiculous chance you're going to drive 100 miles. And so I was leaving the house, and Lily looked at me last week and said, you have to go tomorrow. I said, oh, I know I do. I said, you know what? It's kind of why I talked about it today. I painted myself into the corner where I have to go. I can't not go now because then I'll do the show next week and go, yeah, I didn't go. And then you'll all be pissed. So I made myself go, hopped in the car, drove up there. There was, the way it works is there was tapings all night, or not tapings, like shows. They do mock shows. At least that's what I read. They said they would play 3 different games. They would play a game at 6 o'clock. They would play a game at 7:30, and they would play another game at 9 o'clock at the casino, the Cabazon Hot Springs. I don't know what the fuck it is, some casino. And, so I wanted to be there for the early show because I knew that once they saw me, they were going to stop seeing people. Because let's face it, I'm built for TV and for that show. So I drove out there. I got there early. It was like 5:25 I got to town. Made good time and walked up. There was a velvet rope that you had to stand behind if you wanted to travel for Wheel of Fortune. And it went all the way down the side of the casino, and there was nobody in line. No one. There were 4 dudes passing out like slips that you had to fill out. They said, are you here for Wheel of Fortune? I said, yes. And there was a line, and it said, line up here for Wheel of Fortune. He goes, oh, you don't have to worry about that. And he handed me a slip of paper. There was about 5 or 6 other people filling out the slips of paper. So they needed to know, they wanted to know your name and your phone number and your email address, and whether you were a wheel watcher. And then they said, tell us something interesting about yourself, some special skills that you have. Now, I've always run aground on that question whenever I've worked or tried to get on any other game shows, because I don't have any special skills. I talk, I'm funny, I have personality, that's it. So, which is really the only skill you need on a game show. You need to know how to play the game, work the buzzer, and be charming. That's it. So whenever I come up with that question, because it's always like, what are your hobbies? And everybody's always like reading. Because again, what hobbies, what do what the fuck? I play kickball. What the fuck do you care, Pat Sajak? Give me some money. So, all I wrote on it said, what special skills or qualities do you have? And I just wrote special qualities with a question mark. I'm an asshole. And when I'm even now saying it out loud, it sounds so stupid. And I just wrote special qualities, question mark. I'm handsome, charming, and loved. That's all I wrote. That's all I wrote on my slip of paper. Because what am I going to write? Reading? Sports? Everybody's writing that. Special qualities? I'm handsome, charming, and loved. And I handed in the slip of paper, and he goes, no, you take that, you go upstairs. I said, okay. So we are all there, walking through the casino, marching this Bataan death march. And we had to go upstairs. They find the escalators and then go up. So, there was, like I said, there was only a few people outside and there was nobody in line. So I'm like, could there be possibly nobody here? That would be fucking amazing. So I walk, and as I get to the top of the escalator, I start to see people milling about. And then there's a lot of people milling about. And then I have to walk over, and it's in a big conference room. So I walk, and there's a guy collecting the slips. And they were they were orange slips for the early session. So I had my slip, and he goes, here, you got your slip. And I went to hand it to him, and they had a bag where you could drop them, like a bucket. But he grabbed mine for some reason, I don't know why, and he read it. He guy looks at it, and he read it, And he just laughed. He just laughed out loud. He's just like, ha, okay. And he like kind of looked at me with a big wide-eyed face, and he put it in his basket with everybody else's fucking slip. I thought it was going to get me right to the front of the line. I thought it was going to get me some safe passage, but no, he smiled and gave me like recognition and then dropped it in with fucking everything else. So I went around the corner and I walked into the conference room, and oh, remember all the people at the Velvet Rope that I said weren't there? It's because they're in the conference room already. They were gathering slips outside, and I walk into this conference room. There's 500 people. Easy 500 people standing there. And no chairs in the room, by the way, because they want you spring-legged and excited about the game. Set up on the board is a Wheel of Fortune board, and all around the room there's sponsoring. There's a sponsor for this live performance, and it was United Healthcare. And they have booths where you can sign up and learn all about United Healthcare, and they are sponsoring the thing, and there's constant, announcements about them and United Healthcare, and please come over and visit them. And let me tell you, as I looked around the room, there was no more appropriate sponsor for the Wheel of Fortune live tryout than United Healthcare, because I would say median age in the room, 60. And that's including me, and there are other young people there. There are people my age, okay? I wouldn't say there's not a lot of 30-year-olds, but there's a lot of 35-year-olds, but that was more than canceled out by the posse of old people who all showed up, and because I counted them, there were 11 walkers. Men with walkers with the tennis balls and the thing, and there were men or women with walkers. And I thought 11 walkers was rough until I counted the 14 wheelchairs. And those people were there to try out for the show. And I wanted to pull them aside and ask them what made them think they had a chance to get on the show. I mean, I don't even think they do an ARP week. If they do ARP week, these people might have a chance, but you've seen the show. You have to stand up and spin a wheel. I mean, you're on a walker, you're in a wheelchair. You have no business even being in the fucking room. Why are you here? Why are you putting your orange slip in the bucket and making my orange slip that much more obsolete? Gramps? I mean, if you can describe anything in your life as hip-shatteringly exciting, you shouldn't be there. But it didn't hurt, man. I mean, it was The Walking Dead. It is just this room full of, I'm waiting for Rick to come in and start shooting people in the fucking face, because it was just deadly old people and wearing I'm a Wheel Watcher t-shirts. And it's just, I should tell you this too. It didn't strike me as a lark for these people. It didn't strike me as a lot of people who were like, you know what, that might be a fun thing to do. It struck me as people with a purpose, like myself. I mean, I drove 100 fucking miles to try to possibly get on Wheel of Fortune, okay? And I was waiting for the contestant interview, because here's where I killed it in the old days on on game shows. They would interview me, and they would see that I was, you know what, I was handsome and charming and loved. And so they would fucking go, this is a guy we got to get on camera. Or at least give him an audition and see if he knows his stuff. And also, I kill it with the buzzer on every fucking show. Well, there's no buzzer on the wheel, but I can spin a wheel just like anybody else. I'm a monkey, right? Any monkey can spin a wheel. So I was waiting to get interviewed. So I walk in, I put my slip in, I look around, these old people are just staggering, and they are single-minded of purpose. Like I said, nobody's there to have fun. They are there because they really think they're about to change their lives by getting on the Wheel of Fortune. And I'll tell you, that is a depressing room to be in. That is that kind of atmosphere where everyone wants it to happen so badly. I mean, all of us are in there just because I was the same way. Why else would I have driven 100 miles? Because I tried to talk myself out of it. And Lily was like, you better go to that tomorrow. I go, no, I said it on the show. So I've painted myself in a corner. I have to go. And then I got in my car and I go, I'm not going. And then I got home. I told Karen, I go, look, I don't think I'm going to go to this thing tomorrow. She's like, why not? You changed your show around. You're off tomorrow. And I go, I know, but come on, it's not going to happen, right? And she's like, no, you have to go. So I went. I drove 100 miles. I walked in there, and it was just these old people and me, and all of us were just furious, just waiting to be interviewed. And I went outside looking for contestant people, but because that's usually there's representatives, and there were people walking around with their little aprons and handing out pencils, and that was the people collecting the slips. So I went up to the guy who collected my slip and laughed, and I said, "Hey," I go, "do they interview the contestants?" And he goes, "Yeah, you'll get interviewed on stage." I said, "Oh, that's great." I go, "All of us though?" I go, "There's like 500 people in this room." And he goes, "Oh, no." He goes, "Everybody's name goes in a drum, and they'll pull out names, and people will get to go on stage." I said, "So wait a minute. So I'm here. There's no guarantee that I'm going to get picked." And he goes, "Oh no." He goes, "Everybody has the same chance. That's why they all go into the bin, and then they'll pull out the names. And as they play the game, they'll keep bringing people up and drawing names." So now, not only did I drive 100 miles for a shot at being on Wheel of Fortune, but now I drove 100 miles. This isn't even for a shot at being on Wheel of Fortune, all right? I drove 100 miles for a shot at having my name picked out of a garbage can. That's it. I have to hope that my orange slip is handsome, charming, and loved enough to be pulled out. Because I thought I knew they were going to collect the slips, obviously, but I thought they would sort through them, and then they would look at what people wrote, and because I wrote something fun, they would use me. Because I don't read and I don't like sports. But no, everybody gets the same fucking chance. So now, and look, if I'm in that room and I have the same, if they told me you have a fighting chance just like everybody in this room, those are good words to use. Because if I have a fighting chance with a room full of 60-year-olds, I am just going to leave bodies broken in my wake. But if you're telling me I got a chance to get drawn out of a garbage can just like these people, well, fuck them. My odds have shrunken considerably. So, I turn around, I go back in the room, and like I said, there's easily 500 people, and the front of the room is all people standing. In the front of the room, all right, there's a stage. I should tell you this is a stage with an actual letterboard like you would see on the Wheel of Fortune. And there's a wheel to spin, but it's much smaller. It's like those wheels you see at a fair when they're spinning a wheel to give away cupcakes or bullshit like that. It's a tiny wheel like that. And there's a huge United Healthcare banner up there in case anybody faints. And the front of the house, all around the stage, are people standing. There's tons of people standing. And then you get to the back of the conference room, and everybody's on the ground because there's no chairs. So they're all sitting on the floor. Some people are sleeping on the floor. And like I said, there's old people, okay? But there's also a sizable group of people my age, maybe a little younger, and they are wearing flip-flops and shorts and baseball hats. And look, I didn't rent a fucking tuxedo, okay? But I put on a good pair of jeans, and I had a nice button shirt on over a T-shirt, and I was like, all right, well, because you're here to try out for a television show, correct? You know that they're going to look at you and decide whether or not they want to put you on television with your feet uncovered, you fucking animal. Buy a shoe. So I'm walking around and I'm trying to people watch a little bit, but it's too depressing because, again, like I said, once I found out that I'm now on equal footing with all of these motherfuckers, I don't want to be there. I don't want anything to do with it, but I know that I can't leave because now I've already driven 100 miles. I'm there. I'm in the garbage can. I can't fucking bail. So they've got people standing, they've got some people lying down, and I said the show starts at 6 o'clock. So all of a sudden at 5:45, they start doing like these announcements. All right, who's ready for the wheel? All this, nonsense, everything. Yay! And they go, all right, well, let's see your hands. And they do this stuff where they try to create artificial excitement because they want everybody in the room to be alert and awake because they are trying out for a television show. So they let me see your hands. Everybody puts their hands in the air and they're like, all right, let's all turn around and this right now spin in circles. And they made everybody spin in circles. Oh my God. And I'm just standing there. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And then they start playing the wheel song. All right. the theme song of the show, the bump 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 ba da 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 bump 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 ba da 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 da, and but when it starts, they go, all right, we want to hear everybody. We want to hear everyone out there. Let's go. Wheel of Fortune. And everybody, they're at the top of their lungs. They're screaming. They go, do it again. And they make them do it a second time, third time, and then they start the music. Dun, 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 which is the theme song for the show. Okay. So I'm thinking, all right, well, we're starting the game. However, here's the thing I did not know about the Wheel of Fortune theme song. It's like 6 minutes long. They play 30 seconds of it on television, but it's long. I mean, it's like an actual piece of music. So it's dun 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 dun, and it keeps playing like it's the fucking dance mix. Like Giorgio Moroder got a hold of the fucking Wheel of Fortune theme song and cranked it out, just stretched it on the rack. And people are kind of like bopping and dancing, and they're like chanting, and they're having fun. And now infectious in the room, everybody's having fun. And then they start with the crazy lights, and then they start with an announcement, and they're like, yeah, who's ready for the Wheel of Fortune? Yay! Everybody's cheering, and I'm standing there, and I'm miserable. Because again, I was hoping to backdoor it with my handsome and charming and loved sheet of paper, but now I have to play the game like everybody else. I've got to cheer and I don't mind doing that, really. I don't, but I do. I really do. I'm not going to lie to you. I fucking hate it. I don't want to fucking jump in circles and do all that stupid bullshit. Who does? I'm there to solve puzzles and win money. That's it. I'm here to play grown-up hangman. Get the fuck out of my way. I'm here to fucking vanquish old people. Stand aside, Gramps. So they play the fucking dance mix of the song, and they have it a huge amount, and they're like, all right, let's welcome your host, Marty. And Marty comes running out with a microphone, and he does a karate jump. And he's like, hey, what's going on, everybody? And he's crazy amped up. He's like 4 boxes of Captain Crunch amped up. He's pacing the stage, and he's, who's there? Who's excited for the Wheel of Fortune? Woo! And everybody's excited, and they're cheering for Marty. And then Marty says, let's bring out, he goes, I'm Traveling Pat. That's who I am. I'm Traveling Pat. Let's bring out Traveling Vanna, Morgan Matthews. And then Morgan Matthews walks out, and she's a hot girl in, Wheel of Fortune clothes or whatever, heels and a dress. And she comes out and she does that. She has the Vanna stance down that with the hands in the air. She does that by the letters. And Marty walks around and he starts to give us the lay of the land. And he's telling everybody, you know what? You got it. We're filming you for TV. So please know that everything you do is being filmed. And we're going to review these tapes. Even if you're not picked today, you're still going to be on film. And if we see that you were reacting and having a good time, maybe, just maybe, you get the email from us to try out for the Wheel of Fortune. And everybody cheers and goes crazy. Now, I should tell you how I handle this. I don't want to do those things, but I also know that they are filming us, and he did just announce that. I'm well aware of it. I don't know where the cameras are. So what I do, I lean back on my many years of extra work, and whenever they start chanting, they go, Wheel of Fortune. I just mouth it. I don't say it, but I go, Wheel. I pretend like I'm saying it. I don't know what. That was my silent protest against having to be a fucking stooge, I guess. Like I'm still, gesturing with my hands and saying Wheel of Fortune. I'm not using my voice to do it. You know what? You don't get the privilege of my voice, fake Wheel of Fortune. Grown-up hangman. I keep my voice to myself. So Marty is getting people whipped into a frenzy, and he's, you and you and you, and people are fainting. And they go, all right, well, let's get it. Let's shake it out, everybody. Let's shake it out now. Shake your arms out. So now it's hokey pokey time. Everybody's got to fucking shake their arms out. And then he goes, all right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go ahead and high five the person next to you and the person behind you. Let's get it. We're all in this together. And so I'm standing there. I'm surrounded by like old people who, if I high five them, I'm going to break their wrist. I mean, it's just. So I wasn't going to do it until the people, they turned around to me, and they were very nice. I mean, it was very, and so when they would turn around to me, I would do this thing. All right, no one's going to know what this is, but I don't care. When I was a kid, Magic Johnson, when he played basketball, he would, whenever he would do anything on the court, or he would get an assist, or he would make a great pass, or something like that, he would point at a guy with a serious face. because Magic was always happy and stuff. But then when he would make that face, when he would be like that thing, like, yeah, you, he would point and make a serious face. So we used to do it all the time. We'd be playing hoops. You know, you just do something stupid. If someone makes a good pass, you just point at him like, yeah, good pass, without saying good pass. So these old people turn around to look at me, and I give them the Magic Johnson straight face point. And then they looked at me, and I put my hand in the air for the high five, and they gave me high five. And then the old person next to me, I did it, Magic Johnson straight face point. And they looked at me like, because it was like, are you into this high five? Are you really into this high five? And they would look at me and they kind of like nod. All right, high five in the air smash. Bring it in, Silver Fox. High fiving with the youngster, the 45-year-old youngster.
Oh my God.
The 45-year-old boy is here. So he starts with the high fives. Everybody's high fiving. Then he goes, all right, you know what I want you to do now? I want you to hug the person next to you and the person behind you. And I will say that Traveling Pat, also known as Marty, pushed it a little far at that point. Because then people kind of started to like look around. And this old lady in front of me, she was probably like 5'1", and just like that industrial mom that you would get from Russia, just like fat and short and just crazy like a bit. And she turns around and looks at me for the hug, and like almost like you could see the hesitancy on her face. And I just, Magic Johnson straight face point. You in it for this hug? And she kind of like looked at me like, I'm not in it for the hug. Just waved at me. Waved like she was leaving. Like honestly, she was going to walk out of the building. Like, you know what? I'm not going to hug the big guy. I've had more than enough. And then I turned around and looked at the lady next to me, and it's Magic Johnson straight face point. You in for the hug? Nope. All right, good. So it was a lot of like nodding and waving. We all waved. And Marty's like, well, if you don't want a hug, come on, just wave at your neighbor. And everybody's waving and enjoying themselves. Nobody in the room enjoying themselves more than Traveling Pat Sajak, also known as Marty. So Marty starts with the chanting again. He's like, who wants to get on the wheel of it? Me. And everybody's yelling. And he goes, is it your dream to be on this show? And people are like, yes. And I went, I pretended to say yes. And then they said, is it on your bucket list to be on this show? And that is a phrase you probably don't want to use in a room with the median age of 60, because you're hitting far too close to home for everybody in that fucking room when you bring up the bucket list. And so there was like this, everybody cheered, but there was also kind of this weird tension in the room. Like for some people, they've already got 1 foot in that bucket, so maybe you shouldn't really draw their attention to that. So he starts with the stuff. He's like, all right, look, what we're going to do is we're going to start drawing names. I'm going to draw 5 names, and we're going to get 5 people up here on stage to play the game. And then we'll draw 5 more names. And when you get up on stage, here's the thing. We're going to play a puzzle, but what we want to do is we want to go ahead and talk to you. We want to know who you are, because I'll tell you what, I'm not Pat. I have more time than Pat. I want to get to know you. Oh, no, that's not serious, right? Look around. Do you want to get to know these people? Some of them didn't even wear shoes out of their homes. So he starts with the, you know what, I want to get to know you. I want to learn all about you. And it's all about personality. Show me your personality and I'll show you the money. Help me help you. When you come on stage, be prepared. I'm going to ask you some questions and just be loose, be yourself. Because what we're doing is we're looking for people who are going to be on the Wheel of Fortune. We want interesting people because you know what, playing the game is one aspect. If you can solve the puzzles, that's great. But we need to know more about you and who you are. And it's all a complete package. And we're filming you. So please know that if you get pulled, if your name gets pulled, you will be filmed and you will play the game. I will interview all of you individually, and what it is, we will have like the speed round at the end of Wheel of Fortune. We will put up the letters. We will go to each one of you, and you will each get to ask for a letter. And then you'll have 3 seconds to solve the puzzle. And we will move to the next person until that puzzle is solved, and then we'll call up new people. So who's ready to play the Wheel of Fortune? And me, everybody, me. And I'm just like, not saying anything. So if you're not getting this, what they're going to do is they're just going to pull names. You get up 5 at a time, you get a personal interview, and then you get to guess 1 letter and try to solve the puzzle. Yeah. So it's not even a real game. It's the end round. And I mean, look, that's fair because that lets them see more people. But it's not fair at all. I mean, it's not worth a 100-mile drive. And maybe not worth a 200-mile round trip drive. But I don't care because I'm going to once I get picked, I know that it's just, I'm sending everybody else home in a fucking body bag because it's just going to be, I'm going to get up there and I will have personality. I'll be funny and I will crush the puzzle, of course. That's all. I just have to wait to get picked. So they call the first 5 names and all these people go up on stage and they're going to give away prizes too. He goes, look, you solved the puzzle. Your name is in the bin and obviously you're going to be used. And I will also tell you this, if you don't get picked today, I'm going to tell you right now, of the names in this bin that do not get picked, we will draw some extras. We will bring them down to Los Angeles and they will also be thrown in for a possibility of getting that email. Now, please remember that if we choose you, it is not a guarantee that you will get the email to be a contestant on the Wheel of Fortune or to audition to be a contestant on the Wheel of Fortune. If you make it up on stage, it is not a guarantee that you will get the email. If you solve the puzzle, it is not a guarantee that you will get the email. It is all about your personality and your gameplay. So please do your best. Get up here right now. Let's get the first 5 names. And everybody goes crazy. And then, of course, Traveling Vanna, Morgan Matthews, goes over to the bin and she starts pulling names. And they call them Price is Right style, come on down. And people, yay, they shriek and they run down and they get on stage and he goes to interview them. And he tells them before he interviews them, he says, listen, you're going to solve the puzzle and obviously there's going to be prizes when you're on the actual show. But today, you might think there are no prizes, but I do have prizes for you. Because I have for you, and he goes over to the wheel and he spins it. And on the wheel, it says T-shirt or prize package or hat. And when it lands on that, he goes, it's a Wheel of Fortune T-shirt. And everybody goes crazy because you're supposed to. And then he says, but that's not all. And everybody chants, that's not all. Except for me, I'm going. And he says, what else do we have for them? And he goes over to the side and there's a guy and he holds up an 8x10 of Pat and Vanna. Not signed. It's just a picture of Pat and Vanna. And he goes, oh, you get to take home a picture of Pat and Vanna. Everybody goes crazy. Yay! And in my head, I'm just like, oh my God, this is sadder than I thought. So he brings the people up on stage and he starts to interview them. And he tells them, you will have 3 seconds to solve the puzzle. And by the way, I should tell you this. I'm coming around on Traveling Pat Sajak, also known as Marty at this point, because he's sneaking in little jokes. All right. And it's the kind of thankless gig when you're performing for a room full of 80-year-olds that you start to do things to make yourself laugh. All right. So he tells them, he brings the first woman over and he goes, all right, when you do get a chance to solve the puzzle, he goes, you'll have 3 seconds and then you'll hear this. And then we hear this buzzer, but it just goes, ee! That's the noise it makes. And I knew immediately what it was. And he just goes, that's Taboo. Because it was the buzzer from Taboo. But when he said it, people were like, what do you mean by taboo? Like, you'd see there a puzzle. But I fucking laughed. I was like, dude, that's great. Because it was taboo. But other people were just like, what does he mean by that's taboo? Like, you can't hear the buzzer. And because in the crowd, of course, people have broken off into individual discussion groups. So he starts interviewing people on the stage. And of course, all of them, what do you do for fun? Well, I'm retired. Of course you're retired. Cotton Top, you're fucking 75 years old. Everybody's retired. Everybody likes reading. Everybody likes sports. Everybody likes hiking. Every single person he brings over, I like hiking, and they all live in the desert. They're all like, it's like the family from The Hills Have Eyes. I mean, like they're all just there. It's Michael Berryman. And I like to bust the head off of parakeets and drink their blood. I mean, of course you do. I like to eat raw meat and terrorize campers. Of course you do. So, I mean, it was just fucking brutal. Everybody was retired. Everybody enjoyed hiking, and no personality at all. None. Just flat. This one woman's like, "Oh, I'm in a singing group with 2 of my sisters." He goes, "Well, do you want to do a little singing for us now?" No. Okay. Well, you might as well just walk off the goddamn stage. And then he's like, "No, come on, you got to do it." And so then she sang, and she was atrociously bad. She was terrible. Because she did not expect to sing. But it's like, if you write down that you're a singer and you tell them that you can sing, they're going to make you fucking sing. So they start interviewing people. They start playing the games. And it was a blur. Like, he goes through the first 5 names. And then here's the way it works. You get to call a letter and you can try to solve the puzzle. And if you don't get it in 3 seconds, they go to the next person. Every one of the 5 people has to call a letter. Because the first group of 5, the third person solved the puzzle. So they kicked those 3 off, saved the other 2, and then brought 3 more people up and then started calling new names. And I'm standing in the audience, and I'm by 2 young girls, all right, who are younger than me. They're probably like 28. And the 3 of us just start solving all the puzzles. Whenever it would come up, we would lean over to one another and we would just say the answer. And which was great, except for the fact that everybody in the audience was doing the exact same thing, even the people close to the stage, to where Traveling Pat Sajak, also known as Marty, had to go, folks, look, if you're not on stage, please don't solve the puzzle out loud, because we're trying to get these people to get involved and also learn about them a little bit, but they need to solve the puzzle. Don't give them any clues. And then he would go to the next person and they would turn a letter, and then someone in the audience would say the name of the fucking puzzle. Like, everybody just ignored the instructions from Traveling Pat Sajak, also known as Marty. But I couldn't tell if it was just malicious or if it was just old people who don't know that they're not whispering. Chocolate Sunday morning. Shut up, old man. Everybody can hear you. That's out loud. Use your inside your oxygen tent voice. So Marty's bringing people up there, and he's interviewing them. The puzzles are flying by, and it's just a festival of retirees who like hiking, just these nondescript people. And finally, Marty, he's trying to do everything he can to draw out of them. And he asks this woman what she does, and she goes, well, I like writing. And he goes, really? And he's got his arm around her, and he's got the microphone in one hand. And he goes, what you writing about? And I couldn't help it. I blurt laughed, like, because it was so stupid. Because he was like a 13-year-old girl. Like, he totally made fun of her. Like, what you thinking about? And he just goes, what you writing about? And I was just like, bah! And I got everybody dirty looks. Like, all these old people looked at me like I was crazy. Like I was making fun of them or he was making fun of her. I don't know why they were mad, but it was funny. It was because, again, Traveling Pat Sajak, also known as Marty, is just trying to make himself laugh. He's trying to keep himself from fucking falling under the spell of all these hiking retirees. Hike out the fucking door, man. And Marty's just trying to keep it interesting for him, but I'll tell you what, I have been at jury duty 3 different times in my life. I have been in a courtroom waiting to testify. I have had to wait for my car in an actual waiting room at an auto repair shop. I have taken cross-country plane flights before the invention of the Walkman or the iPod. I thought I knew what boredom was until I was able to watch traveling Vanna White / Morgan Matthews stand on stage and try not to fucking fall asleep turning fake letters at the fake Wheel of Fortune. I half expected the final puzzle to be her suicide note. And then she would leap to her death from the stage, while the representatives from United Healthcare frantically pumped her sequin-clad chest. Because she looked so angry, like angry bored. Not just bored like, oh, well, I'm going to file my nails, but just angry bored like, I bet if I hit somebody, I'd feel something again. I'll bet that would happen. How angry would they be if I set fire to every name in this garbage can? Let's fucking do it. I'm tired of being traveling Vanna White. I'm Morgan Matthews. Brutal. So fucking Marty's talking to people and he's making himself laugh and making me laugh, and the old people have no fucking interest. So they start calling names and people are going on stage. And again, it's just a festival of people. And I will tell you this though, I couldn't wait to get called because I knew exactly the first thing I was going to say. He was going to go, what do you do? And I'm going to go, I don't hike, because everybody hiked. I couldn't wait to get called. It was the first thing out of my mouth. Well, you know what? I don't hike. I can tell you that. A lot of people hiking in here today. Traveling Pat Sajak, also known as Marty. And then I'm on the show. How perfect is that? So they call more names. They have more retirees who solve more puzzles. And I'm standing there, and then there was a mic. They said a mic, and I'm frozen. And but then he had trouble with the last name, so I knew it wasn't me. Because Traveling Pat Sajak, also known as Marty, is not going to blow the name Schmidt. So they call some people on stage. And they call the name Stephen Thompson. And I mentioned that for a reason, folks. Write that down. Stephen Thompson. If you're a wheel watcher, or someone who has stumbled upon the wheel once in a while, or even if you're a hardcore viewer, you're going to hear the name Stephen Thompson again, folks. Because as they were bringing up this sea of retirees, this endless silver ribbon that Marty had to try to draw something interesting out of, along came Stephen Thompson. 25, maybe. He gets called on stage, and he's also like 6'3". He's a strapping young man. And he comes forward to be interviewed by Traveling Pat Sajak, also known as Marty. And Marty's like, so your name? He's like, I'm Stephen Thompson. Gives his full name like a real person should. And Marty says, well, what do you do? And he goes, well, you know what? I'm a graduate student, and my lovely wife is in the audience right now. We have an 8-month-old baby at home, and I'm in a band. I play several different instruments on my own, but I'm also in a heavy metal band on my own. And he doesn't look like a heavy metal guy. He's got kind of short hair, but he's got funky facial hair, and he's wearing kind of sunglasses. And Marty goes, oh, you want to sing for us? And he goes, yeah, I will. And he takes the microphone away from Marty, and he walks to the front of the stage and fucking blows the roof off of the Calabasas Casino, or whatever the fuck it was called. He sings like a fucking Daughtry Nickelback type of song, but a cappella in a bluesy white guy voice, and floors everybody. It was great. It was really great. I won't lie. It wasn't like he stood out because everybody else was awful. He was fucking great. And they're lucky he wasn't the first guy, because you would have never remembered a soul when he was finished. He sings and blows the fucking doors off, and huge ovation. Everybody goes crazy. And Marty's like, hey, do you want to do another song? Like, we just sing till the end here. And everybody's like, no, Wheel of Fortune must be on TV. Because Traveling Pat Sajak, also known as Marty, he knows a good thing when he sees it, and he sees Stephen Thompson. So Stephen Thompson goes back into the line, and he interviews the next woman. He brings her up forward, and he goes, what do you do? Well, I'm retired and I hike. Of course you do. They go to the front of the line, and they change the new puzzle. And it's Fun and Games is the title. They go to the first woman. I should tell you, Stephen Thompson's third in line. They go to the first woman, and she says, is there an S? There's no S. They go to the next woman. She says, is there a T? And I should tell you, there's 2 words for Fun and Games. The first word has 4 letters. The second word has 7 letters? 8 letters. And she says, is there a T? And the T is the 4th letter in the second word. And she has no guess. And taboo rings out. So he goes to Stephen Thompson, and Stephen Thompson said, is there an F? And Traveling Vanna White awakes out of her coma and says 2. And so Traveling Pat Sajak, also known as Marty, says 2 Fs. And before she even turns the second F, Stephen Thompson goes, flag football. And Marty goes, what? Like, he's even shocked. And he goes, flag football. And he turns around and he goes, is it flag football? And Traveling Vanna White, first smile of the day, she's like, yes, thank God, we're done with this puzzle. And she turns the letters and the place goes crazy, because Stephen Thompson, not only good looking wife, not only newborn baby, not only personality, not only great singer, crushed the puzzle. Got flag football with 2 Fs and a T. Destroys it. And in my head, I just went, Stephen Thompson is going to be on the Wheel of Fortune. I guarantee it. So everybody goes crazy, but then they're also secretly jealous of Stephen Thompson. So he gets cut loose. They cut some people loose. They move everybody over. They start calling more names. And as they call the names, I'm standing there, and I'm solving puzzles with the young ladies next to me. And I can see that it's not good. It's not going to happen. I'm wanting it to. I'm certainly wanting it to. And it's every time they call new names, a few people drift out the back of the conference room. So there's always the hope that they'll bring a name out of somebody who's left, and they'll have to pick again. But they're blazing through. Like I said, they started a little early, so they're playing and playing and playing, and we played from about 10 to 6 until 7 o'clock, and they called 45 names, including the name of George Sucamani, which made me laugh. He goes, what's your name? He goes, George. Is it Jorge or George? He goes, George. And he goes, Sucamani. He goes, how do you pronounce that? And the guy says, Sukamani. And Traveling Pat Sajak, also known as Marty, goes, Sukamani is running wild. And I, of course, went, ha ha! And everybody hated me. But then they just called this never-ending group of retirees. There's a guy, me and my wife, we travel the country in an RV now, and we're really enjoying life. And just awful, terrible, no personality, nothing. Stephen Thompson, the clear winner of the early day. And I'm still waiting for them to call my name as they're calling names, but they wound up calling 45 people. And then he says, you know what, this is going to be the last group of people we're going to call. This is the last group we're going to call for this one. And they go over to the bin and they spin it and they pull out 5 more names. And I can tell you that Mike Schmidt is not one of them. By the way, when I say retirees, that's true. And retirees were, they were all supporting one another. You know who else was really beloved by the Wheel of Fortune crew? Cops and military. Anybody who was military, anybody who was a police officer, the place went crazy and thanking you for their service and really going nuts. To the point where one of the last names they called, this guy goes on stage. And when he got on stage, I was like, well, he honestly looked like he was there to beat up Jim Morrison. Like he was that kind of cop. like he had somehow been called out of the 60s. And he was going to take a nightstick and rough up Traveling Pat Sajak, also known as Marty. Because he had that thick fucking cop mustache. He had mirrored shades in his pocket and regular glasses. He had a brush cut. He was just built like a Volkswagen stood up on its back fender. I mean, it was just a barrel man. He may be living in my inflatable mattress. Quite frankly, this guy, just the craziest mustache. His name is Bill. Like, that type of dude. And he starts talking about what he likes to do, and he likes to restore old cars. He's a retired policeman, and he was in the military, and he likes to restore old cars. And I'm just like, why don't you just walk around and slap us all in the mouth with your dick? Because it's pretty obvious. You have more testosterone than anybody else in this room. He could actually lay his hands on all of the old people and make them strong again. That's who this dude was. Saving grace, however, terrible at the puzzle. Like it came to him and he fucking completely blew it because he was too busy thinking about putting Traveling Pat Sajak, also known as Marty, in a chokehold. Make him tap out. That's what he wanted to do. He fucked the puzzle. He wants to make Traveling Pat Sajak, also known as Marty, tap out. Which is bad news because Sukamania is running wild. He will come to Traveling Pat Sajak, also known as Marty's rescue. So I'm standing in the audience. They call the 7 names, and it's not me. I'm not one of the last names they call. And people start leaving in droves. And then Traveling Pat Sajak, also known as Marty, says, hold on. All right, we have some more people up here. Out of respect to them, let's let them play the game. But I will tell you, if you're leaving, you can go ahead and just sign up again for the second session and go downstairs and get in line and come back upstairs and play. Because we definitely want to have you here. Some of your names are already in the thing. We'll go ahead and take a look at bringing those to Los Angeles. But if you want to sign up again, absolutely. And people are drifting out, not even listening to them. They don't care. Old people rolling out. Wheelchair brigade. The elevator is completely stacked because it's all fucking old people. The escalator is just a mob scene. So I go use the restroom. And there's 2 guys in there. And they're older gentlemen. And I walk in, I hit the urinal, and this one guy goes, they're by the sink with their heads down. And I didn't know if they were together or not. But one of them is washing his hands, and he just goes, horse shit, I tell you. And I didn't know if it was from me or the other guy, so I didn't say anything. And nobody answers him, and he just goes, goddamn horse shit. And then the other guy looks up and he goes, well, we got 2 more chances. And he goes, yeah, but that's goddamn horseshit. I get here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I should be able to go ahead of the line. And he goes, well, yeah, but we got 2 more chances. And he goes, yeah, but now we got to go back downstairs. I was already in this. And so they got there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon for a 6 o'clock audition. And they didn't get picked. He's pissed. They go walking out. I finish up, wash my hands, I walk out, and they meet their wives outside. So they got a whole crew. Their wives, by the way, wheel watchers. They had the shirts on. I hit the escalator, I go downstairs, and the whole time in my head I'm like, do I do this again? I mean, I have to, right? I drove 100 miles. You don't come out 100 miles and just do one shot at it. I go, but dude, this isn't about you at all. This is about luck. And you are presently in a state of no luck whatsoever. So you can't do this, right? This doesn't make any sense to stick around. And I'm having this debate in my head on the way down the escalator. And I'm like, no, you got to stay. You're here. You drove 100 miles. At least give the second one a shot. Because I'm not staying for the third one. But I'm like, but you know what? You'll get picked in the second one. You'll get picked in the second one, and it won't be a problem. You'll get picked, and you'll go up there, and they'll see who you are, and this will work. But dude, what if you don't get picked? It's just 100 miles. Then you got to drive 100 miles home. Who cares? Just don't fill out a slip. Just fucking leave. But why? Why would I leave? This is my Hail Mary pass. I have no story if I don't get picked. This doesn't make any sense. I came here to get chosen. I came here to be on the fucking Wheel of Fortune. They don't know what they're missing. And look what cute thing I'm going to write on the new slip. Get to the bottom of the escalator. I'm having this internal struggle. And I walk outside, and like I said, it's about 6:15 now. Or no, 7:15. No, 7. Yeah, it was a little after 7 because they didn't start because they ended quick, whatever the fuck. It's dark. All right, it's fucking dark. That's all I know. And I walk outside, and there's some people milling about, and some of them are filling out slips. And then I see the velvet rope, and there's some people standing in line to go upstairs. And so I walk, and I grab a new slip, and I walk around the corner, and I see the line behind the velvet rope to get in for the second show. Starts by the doors of the casino, goes around the building, and continues all the way down the parking lot. I turn the corner and I see the sheer amount of people behind the velvet rope, and they have handlers all the way down there. People from the first show are getting in line. Okay, we walk down and we start to get at the end of the line. And this guy says, are you guys from the first show? One of the handlers. And they say, yes. And he goes, oh, this isn't the end of the line. Take a look. And we walk a little further down the parking lot, and you see that the line goes all the way, into the desert. It's like infinite at this point. And I'm standing there, and there's old people in wheelchairs and walkers, and they're trying to get to the end of the line. There's people with wheelchairs and walkers already in line. And I was fighting with myself. I'm like, should I stay? Should I not stay? I drove 100 miles. You can't give up now. But why? It's just a fucking luck of the draw. Because if there were 500 people at the early show, there's 1,000 people in line now. And I was standing in the middle of the two lines, debating whether I should either walk to my car or walk to the end of the line. I didn't drive all this way to fail. I didn't drive 100 miles to fail. 200 miles round trip to fail. But actually, you know what? I didn't even fucking fail. I didn't even get a chance to be me. I showed up. I fucking wrote my name on a piece of paper, threw it in a garbage can, and hoped. Fuck, I could have done that at home. I could have saved the 200-mile round trip. And I know that, I'd have two chances about getting on the show, and I wouldn't even need two chances. I'm sure they'd pick me in the second one, right? But I also knew that if I stuck around, I would have to wade through a sea of wheelchairs and an ocean of walkers and never-ending appeals from United Healthcare to try to get me to sign up so I don't wind up like the rest of the people in this fucking room. And I'd have to listen to a 6-minute version of the Wheel of Fortune Giorgio Moroder theme song remix. And I'd have to go up there with fucking traveling Pat Sajak, host also known as Marty, and stare at him again. And then look at traveling Vanna, bored out of her skull, Morgan Matthews, if she didn't kill herself between the 6 o'clock and the 7 o'clock shows. And I looked at these people in line. Do I want to high-five these people? Do I want to hug these people again? I don't know if I want to give these people the Magic Johnson straight-face point. I can't bring myself to do that to 1,000 more people and maybe 1,000 more at 9 o'clock. And is it my dream to be on this show? No, it's not. Is it on my bucket list to be on this fucking show? No. I wanted to take a chance, but it was a poke and hope, and I didn't really fucking care. Do I want to show my personality? Yes. Will they show me the money? Yes. If I help them, will they help me? Well, yeah, that'd be great, but I'll have two chances if I stick around. But do I really want to stick around? Because fucking traveling Pat Sajak, also known as Marty, has more time than Pat and wants to get to know me. Do Do I want him to get to know me? Well, yes, I do, because I want to win money, but I don't want these fucking people to know me. Do I want a t-shirt and an 8x10 of fucking Vanna and Pat? Do I want a fucking keychain? Do I want to listen to the Taboo buzzer echo for the next 2 hours in my fucking head? No, I don't think so. But then I thought to myself, what if I'm the Stephen Thompson of this group? What if I get up there with a blues song and I blow the doors off the place and everybody loves me? What if traveling Pat Sajak, also known as Marty, puts his arm around me and he goes, what's your name? I say, Mike Schmidt. He goes, Schmidtomania is running wild. Yes, it is, Marty. And I look in the back and bored traveling Vanna, also known as Morgan Matthews, has a huge smile on her face because finally she has a purpose in her life. And I thought to myself, I should get back in that line. But then I watched and I looked and I saw, and it stretched back into the desert. I couldn't even see the end of it because it curved around another like rock formation. And I thought to myself, you know what? It's just like Wheel of Fortune. Do I want to get in this line? Mike, is there a why? No. There really isn't. Besides, I'm already charming, handsome, and loved. And that solved my puzzle. I got in my car and went home. You guys can get me at mikeandmikeschmidtcomedy.com. You can be my friend at facebook.com/the40year-old-boy. You can follow me at twitter.com/the40year-old-boy. You can be our friend David Hernandez's friend at facebook.com/davidmexhernandez. You can be our friend Lily Von Stup's friend at facebook.com/Lily Von Stup. You can follow her at 2 different Twitter accounts, twitter.com/MNTs and twitter.com/Lily Von Stup. And if you'd like to write her a personal note and find out if she's going to be divorcing herself from anything anytime soon, you can do so at Lily at burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com. Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas every Monday night at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine. It is Los Angeles' longest running, hottest, sexiest, most girl-laden burlesque show in the history of the city, in the state, in the history of the West Coast. Please, ladies and gentlemen, the 3 clubs is hosting the Monday Night Teas every Monday night, and probably will be for all eternity. I happen to know the producer of that show. She is a favorite of mine, probably a favorite of yours, and certainly if you met her, I know she would be. I wouldn't even just say probably. She would definitely be a favorite of yours. And she produces this show as well. She happens to be here right now. Hey, Lily Von Stup, how are you?
Oh, I'm peachy, Michael. How are you?
I'm good. Don't say peachy. We both hate everything in the world right now.
I don't hate everything in the world. I hate some very specific things.
All right. Yeah, that's true. You can't. I don't have like a big word cloud of hate. I laser in on what I hate.
There's some very specific things I despise.
You got to jump on my shoulders and we got to go Master Blaster and just start hating in tandem. I think it's a good plan.
No, I think LA would fall off the edge of the earth.
That would be trouble. How was the show this week?
It was spectacular.
Fantastic. Were you involved in said show?
Not really, other than the birthday spankings.
Oh, nice.
And let me give advice to people out there. If you're ever brought up on stage for a birthday spanking, if you don't want to be there, don't come up. If you really just want to make it all about you, fucking don't come to my show.
All right. Yeah, that's like people at restaurants who get sung to and stuff like that. We'll go for my birthday and we've been and it's like, if you want to bring me a dessert, that's cool or whatever, but you don't have to sing to me. You really don't. My friend, it's funny. Russ McGarry, my friend Russ McGarry had a tweet this week and he said, I'm trying to remember, I'll never remember it. But it was, whenever people start to ask if we finally got this world together, I remind them when we applaud for adults at restaurants when it's their birthday. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, we don't have anything together. So I'm with you. Stay off the stage. Don't make it all about you because you know what? It's all about Lily Von Stup and her show.
Most people come up and they want to have a good time, but every now and then you get a cunt that comes up that just, you can't spank me. I don't want you to spank me while you're spanking her. Spank me all alone. No, I want to spank you. No, it's all me. And just like, are you done? Okay, now get off my stage.
I'm starting to figure out the specific things you hate.
Yeah. Have fun or don't.
Yeah.
Be involved.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, if you bring 3 people up, they should know that all 3 people are there to have fun. It's not all about them. And
again, people are.
You are actually shaking with rage. It's funny. I wish people could see this. You're actually like, what?
I had 4 people come up patience and restraint was amazing. I was like, I had to throw my paddle down at one point because I was afraid I was going to crack her skull open with it.
Well, how long have you done the show now? 6 years?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you've booked a show, a late night show featuring liquor and naked women.
Yeah.
I think your patience is certainly not in question at this point.
That's very true.
And you've lasted 6 years doing it?
Normally it's like, I'm really, really drunk, and that's the problem. But I'm really, really special is just, fuck it. I have no patience for it. None.
I hear you. I agree.
I could do this. Great. Well, you should get your own show then.
Mm-hmm. And I'll see you in 6 years, and I'll fuck it up.
Good luck. Good luck with that.
Who's on this week's show?
Sean McMaster is hosting.
He's a
and we
magical
just-
dude. I know Sean.
Yeah, we just it's an amazing show all around. There's just a ton of incredible performers in it, so I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. And you have your Friday night show starting in March.
March 1st.
March 1st, coming right up.
Yes,
It's
is.
next week.
Yes.
Not this Friday, but a week from this Friday.
This Friday.
And that's also twitter.com/
FN Happy Hour.
FN Happy Hour.
Friday night happy hour.
All right, cool. And so tickets are available for all of these shows for you at brownpapertickets.com for the Monday shows and the Friday shows, correct?
Oh yes.
Cool. So go to brownpapertickets.com and look up Lily Von Stupp, and you will find any and all shows and buy tickets for any and all of those shows. Yes?
Yes.
Yes, they will. All right, good. Go to facebook.com/the40year-old boy. Like I said, you can be my friend there and also look for a lot of cities that want me to come to their town. A lot of that stuff is kind of on the back burner in play right now because a lot of different things. But I can tell you there are cities right now that have me coming to town, and you could buy tickets there and influence whether or not I come to these other cities because honestly, if the ticket sales continue as they are for these shows, I'm not sure I'm going to be venturing very far from my living room, quite frankly. Next week, I'm in San Antonio, Texas at the Woodlawn Black Box Theater. Tickets are available now at brownpapertickets.com. The following week, March 9th, which is a Saturday night, I will be in Mount Clemens, Michigan at the Black Box Theater, the Box Theater. Tickets are available for that as well. March 29th, I'm in Portland at the Headwaters Theater. That's a Friday night. And then April 5th, I'm at the Darkroom Theater in San Francisco recording my CD for a Special Thing Records that I'm still trying to figure out what it is. And I'm chickening out on a lot of stuff and changing it all on the fly. Who knows what it's going to turn out to be, but I'm excited to do it. So please, yeah, I don't want to beg, but I mean, it would sound stupid to say, but I guess please isn't begging. But, man, if you're coming to the show in San Antonio or Detroit, buy tickets because right now you are in the minority. Well, no, actually, by not buying tickets, you're in the majority. But if you bought tickets, that'd be great. That's next Saturday, March 2nd at the Woodlawn Theater in San Antonio, and the following week, March 9th in Mount Clemens, Michigan at the Box Theater. Tickets are available at brownpapertickets.com. Search my name, Mike Schmidt, search the 40-year-old boy, or go through Facebook and buy tickets there. All at brownpapertickets.com. Please buy tickets. That would be great. I would love to see you out there. I will be there with T-shirts and jokes. Jokes not for sale, T-shirts are. And jokes will be free that night. Although not really because you're buying a ticket. Fuck. Let's not argue semantics, folks. Please go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com and go to the Joe Business page. You can get mugs there via Zazzle, the Fireboy mug and the Thorgar and Yeet mug. You can always get the tweakedaudio.com/40 earbuds. They are autoerotic asphyxiation earbuds, and Cockring watches available through tweakedaudio.com/40. T-shirts are available also through the website. The Scar Panda and the Red Boy T-shirts each available right now in sizes small to extra large. Artwork, signed artwork autographed by me, David Hernandez, and Lily Von Stupp will be sent to you. Rich Galvin and our friend Mark Young. Those guys bought artwork, and I keep telling them every week that I will send it, and I swear that I will. It's been signed by everybody. It's now sitting on my desk waiting to. I've got to find a nice way to ship it so it doesn't get all bent up. Because that happened to poor Mark. I shipped him some artwork before and it got bent. And also some people bought some T-shirts this week. Lauren and people like that. Your T-shirts, everything goes out this week. I swear. Why would I lie? Unless I get the call to go try out for Press Your Luck. That might happen. Stop. Stop on a T-shirt for Lauren. Oh, stop. Stop on some artwork for Rich Galvin. So that stuff's all going out this week. Also available, of course, is the year 1, year 2, year 3, and year 4 download sets, or you can get them all together in the Podcast of the Caribbean set. And also the Schmitty Comes Alive $5 audio download performance from the Los Angeles Podcast Festival. All that stuff is available at MikeSchmidtComedy.com on the Joe Business page. Visit it now, go through, scroll, check it all out. You will enjoy it. Have I mentioned I'm in Detroit next 2 weeks from now and San Antonio next week? I think I did. All right, I'll go ahead and say it again. Buy tickets. And also, hey, don't forget to go to artbydmh.com. Our friend David Hernandez, who does all of the artwork and the music for the show, he has his website right now for freelance stuff to do for your business, and he does all sorts of drawings. Go to artbydmh.com. You will see all of the amazing paintings and drawings and things like that he has done and that he can offer to your business. So go ahead and check that out now. That would be great. I would appreciate it. Actually, I'll wait. Go check it out right now. I'll wait. I am heading home now, and I've decided, after seeing the meteor in Russia, which is fucking amazing. And by the way, and Lily, you hate everything, and I hate everything as well. When you saw the meteor in Russia, weren't you saying, why didn't it hit here? Why? Why couldn't I? Was so close to not having to worry about things. Because a meteor would have just sonic boomed right into my goddamn living room, and there you go. I can blame the bet on that. Oh, a meteor struck your air mattress. But when I saw the clips, I loved it. I actually got Karen out of bed to check it out because it was fucking amazing. All the video. But here's my beef. Not even a beef. Here's my amazement, I guess I would say. All of the video from Russia of the meteor was taken via those dash cams that I've talked about before on the cars. My favorite part, nobody cares. No, I mean, they're so used. Things are so bad in fucking Russia that a meteor is plummeting from the sky and lights up the night sky like the sun. And what do? They don't even pull over. These guys don't even pull over. They just keep driving. They're like, oh, yeah, I don't know what that is. Death from above. Let's keep going. Must have borscht. I thought it was fucking crazy. And it wasn't just one guy. I saw a compilation of like 30 dash cam videos. Not one of them griped. They didn't even turn the techno off their fucking radio. They're just like, da. Because I have a tone. Because you know why? Because I talk quickly and I don't fucking think. That's why. I think that's what it means when you have a tone. Is you don't fucking bother to care what comes flying out of your goddamn mouth. I try to grow the show and I want people to get on board and they're like, I listen to it and you talk too fast. Really, I talk too fast. How the hell else am I supposed to cram all of this into a small 3-hour window? Dude, there's no script. I just go with this shit on the fly. It makes me laugh. If it doesn't make you laugh, turn the fucking station. And by turn the station, I mean turn the wheel of your car right into a guardrail. Jesus, fuck. Hey, where are you going, boy?